ground, we're looking at this attack on the far side arm. A lot of times we're looking for underhook on this side, right? But we're gonna go for what we call a reverse overhook, right? So an overhook, normally when he has an underhook, I have the overhook my right over his left, right? Here I'm gonna go my left over his left, right? So we start in our usual cross-side configuration. I have one under the head, one here, right? I'm gonna switch my arm. So this is gonna come over here by his ear, and I'm gonna put my thumb right here under his arm, right? So thumb up, pinky on the floor, right? So I'm just getting that little space right there. Sometimes there's more space, right? But a lot of times the guy's gonna be really tight right here, right? So I'm just getting my thumb inserted right there, post here on the near side hip. So now I can walk around without him following me with his legs, right? So I get on my toes and I start to walk around. As I start to walk around, this hand is gonna climb up onto his belly. Now I got my wrist inserted under his arm, right? So now I went from just the thumb to the wrist. Now I'm gonna walk to 12 o'clock and just a little bit past, right? Now, from here, my whole goal is to take his shoulder and lift it off the mat diagonally towards his far hip, right? So I'm trying to get a diagonal pressure. I don't wanna just lift him straight up, and I don't wanna roll him completely on his side. I wanna create a little torque, a little crunch here where I'm pushing his shoulder to the far hip. So from here, once I'm here, I'm gonna twist, turn my hips, and I push my shoulder towards the hip, and that pulls his shoulder off the ground towards the hip. At the same time, my hand is gonna go from open to a fist, and from palm down to palm up. So I'm gonna curl my arm in. So instead of just being here, I wanna wedge my forearm really under his armpit as close as I can. So if you watch on this side, right, I start to climb up here, and I curl my fist in here, palm up, right? And this is nice heavy pressure. You can hear from Dan, right? The pressure on his ribs affects his breathing, which is what I want, okay? Now the nice thing about attacking from this north-south is it makes it harder for him to put you in guard while you're attacking. Two, if I'm attacking this elbow and he pulls it to the ground, right, I almost always have an attack on the other elbow. And I can go back and forth, going side to side, trying to attack whichever elbow is a little bit looser and I can get in, right? So I can keep switching my attacks. Or as he overcommits, if he pulls this elbow down hard, the other elbow is gonna come up and give me the attack on the other side. So I can, you know, have an ambidextrous attack to right or left, which is what I want. So from here, I'm driving in. I keep the pressure on here, right? My hips are turned, my shoulders pressing in towards his hip, my ear down towards his hip. Now from here, I'm gonna come behind his head and cradle his head in nice and tight, right? And put his chin on his chest. And now I can lock my hands here, okay? Now I have a back head and arm. Now I bring my knee under his head and I sit back right here. And now I'm in a strong position, but I still wanna use my legs. So I'm gonna bring now he might have his knee up, the other knee up, right? I can just insert, I can lean back, insert my toes right in here, and then get my leg in. Now from here, I shift my weight to the other side, my other leg comes out. Now this is pretty good. What's even better, if I can get this foot in here, inside his armpit. If I can get that, this is the position I would like to get to. One across his belly, one inside the armpit, and I'm cradling him in nice and tight right here. Now I have back attacks, arm attacks, all kinds of attacks from here, right? So that's where I want to get to that back-seated head and arm. So again, from here, first I switch my arm configuration, right? I insert that thumb, I start to walk around, I start to climb my hand up, and I drive right here. Okay, from here, this hand comes around the back of his head, and I squeeze him in. If I can get the Kimura grip, I get the Kimura grip, or I just lock my hands together. This knee comes in here, slide in there, slide this out, boom. Take the back head and arm, right there. You guys need to see that again? Dan, you want to see it on somebody else?
I can't see that so well.
So from here, hook this, turn around. So from here, I drive, pressure in here, come around the back of his head, and I lock his arms here. If I can get this arm, I will, but I'm not going to give up the head. 1, 2. Right now, arms easier to catch. Shift, fight for the leg position I want. Right there. But the nice thing is when you're on your butt, your legs are light and you should be able to move them and kind of slip them in where you want. And then from here, you can work on whatever finishes you want. Let's go from that side control to that back control. Cool? 3 claps. 1, 2, 3.